All right, real estate investors. PlutusLeads.com is a website that is built specifically for you to help you grow your business quicker. Now, you might be thinking that these leads are actually for you. That's not the case. If you are marketing for off-market properties, chances are you're going to come across a lot of people that want full market value for their houses. That's not something you can do. PlutusLeads.com connects you to real estate agents who are better suited for those leads. Head to the website, sign up in the top right corner, meet with the guys that run it. They'll show you how it works. After that, when you get a lead that wants full market, go to the website, upload it. It gets blasted out to a nationwide buyers list. They snatch them up. You get paid. Watch your marketing budget grow quickly with minimal effort. PlutusLeads.com. So let's talk about that house, the only time that I ever had to call DCS. Do you remember? It was one in, I'm not going to say the street name. You still use a picture of that house in some of your social media marketing, and it makes me cringe every time I see it.
Every time.
I hate that fucking house so much. That was the closest I've ever come to murder. I really wanted to kill her. It was terrible. So, acquisitions dude called and said, hey, go over there, do a walkthrough on this one. Good luck. She's the worst human being that's ever been created. So, go over to this little like Cracker Jack house, knock on the front door, and from the outside everything looks normal. She gets on her Ring doorbell and just loses it. Who the fuck are you? Why are you knocking on my fucking door? You go to the other fucking door! Just losing her shit. So I go to the other door, and when I walk in, you walk in this door, so you're from the driveway, you go up. When the door opens, you're standing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Directly ahead of you is the doorway to the living room. In the kitchen, you have, and this is a little house, it's like 900 square feet. So you have counters, cabinets, sink, stove, fridge on the left. There's a second fridge standing in the middle of that little L, and there's trash piled on both sides, with a narrow strip that you could walk through to get from the kitchen door into the living room.
Yeah.
And roaches everywhere. Saw a handful of gopher rats. That was pretty cool in the kitchen. Can't really see much because of all the trash. So just kind of glance around, standard disgusting kitchen. Walk through it. When you go through that door, you're standing in the living room. And to your left is a doorway that goes to the bedrooms and the bathroom. There's a couch. There's a coffee table, and in the corner is Jabba the Hutt on meth. This woman was a solid 325, 350, covered in sores, and she lived her whole life sitting at the computer, just working. So
do you know what she did for a living?
Something on computers.
Okay.
I'm assuming call center stuff. I have no clue.
Fair.
She was a tenant, and so I walk in, niceties. Hey, I'm Matt. How are you? It's nice to meet you. I don't know who the fuck you are, but you better get out. You just get in and get the fuck out. Losing it. Just mad. So at this point, I glance around the living room. You got trash piled up in front of this door, the one she yelled at me about not using. And then there are multiple sex toys of every variety just sporadically placed around this tiny living room. There's a meth pipe on her computer desk next to her, just the long straight straw with the bulb of glass on the end and a torch next to it.
Yeah.
And on the coffee table, there's a flopper, like things like your forearm. Just, it's mounted on the coffee table, just sitting there, like foot tall. So she's pleasant. She doesn't want to talk. So I'm going to make it quick. So I look around the living room. Then I go through the doorway to go and check the bedrooms and the bathroom. Bathroom straight ahead, pretty standard, shitty bathroom, nothing crazy. There's an open door, which was her bedroom. That one was kind of nuts. They had, I don't know what you call it, like a gag, like the ball gag.
Yeah.
In the strap, hanging from the bedpost.
You know what a ball gag is.
Is that what it's called?
I think
I
so.
don't know if it's got a fancy name.
I don't think it has a fancier name.
It's a ball gag.
Yeah.
So there's a ball gag. There was an assortment of clamps lined up like OCD style on presentation on the dresser. Standard gross stuff. So then I'm left with the door that was closed. It's worth noting at this point, in the city limits, trash pickup is free. So you just take it to the curb, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
No reason to have
You
trash
put it
filled.
in the can, you take it to the curb, the city picks it up, you're done. I open that door, it's pitch black in there, the windows are blacked out, you can't see anything, and the light doesn't work. So I pull out my flashlight phone and I turn it on, and then I honestly thought it was raccoons at first because it's a sea of bags of kitchen trash, probably 50, 60 bags, and then just 5 sets of eyeballs glowing at me from the darkness. Then I adjust and find out it's children. There were 5 children sleeping in wallowed out holes in this bedroom filled with garbage bags, and that's just where they were.
So were they her children, you think?
I had to get out of there really quick because I really wanted to kill her.
Right?
Like, I just had to get out. So I have no clue. I'm assuming they were her children. There was a lock on the door. Like, there wasn't an actual lock on it, but there was the hasp, where you can close the door and then you can lock it with a deadbolt. There was one of those on the outside of the door, but it wasn't locked. Anyways, kids sleeping in bags of kitchen trash. In the moment, I start to lose it, so I just closed the door and walked out and left. Got in my truck, called DCS. It's the only time I've ever done that. And gave them a heads up on what I saw, what I found. They were we'll look into it. And I explained to the woman that I'm not leaving until somebody got there and they should hurry because I might kill her. And cop was there in like 2 minutes.
Oh, good.
That was
Good.
cool. So then after that, she texted me. And I wish I had saved it. I wish I had saved that text. It was the way she screamed at me through the microphone, and when I walked in, it was that, but just like a novel with typos, just calling me every name she could possibly think of, and who do you think you are, and I'll fucking kill you, you stupid little faggot, and just losing it. And I don't know what happened after that. I know DCS got called on her, and after that, she got out of the house. The only update I had from the DCS caseworker is that she will be monitored and will have regular and random check-ins to make sure that she's making improvements in those children's lives. But that was before we got that house. So that story's over. But then that house gets gross. So I can do a lot of things, like roaches don't bother me, spiders, snakes, none of that stuff. But bed bugs are disgusting. Like, that's terrifying, and I don't like them. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just curious because you said that the cops did show up in like 2 minutes. Did you talk to them, or were you sufficed and happy that they just showed up and
No,
kind of just got out?
He pulled up. I pulled out and got up next to him and rolled my window down and just said, hey, man, they're in the back bedroom. There's a meth pipe on the table. I didn't see any weapons other than nipple clamps. So watch your hips, but get in there and save those kids. And that was the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I know you said that they gave you kind of an update that, she's going to be monitored and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
DCS was, I'm not going to talk shit about the police department, but they're not really good at conveying information.
No,
the
not at all.
DCS woman was actually pretty great.
That's surprising.
Stayed up to me. She stayed up to it for a few weeks of updates, of letting me know until I lost interest. And
Yeah.
she was like, they have beds now. That's great. Isn't that great? But
Right?
when we closed on that one and they were out of it, then it was the clean out. And it's been so long, I don't know how many dumpsters we did, but way too many dumpsters for a tiny little 2-bed, 1-bath. Again, with all the sex toys and all the roaches and all the rats and all the things and like brown recluses, whatever. But I thought it was filth on the walls in the kitchen. There were so many bed bugs in that house. Bed bugs are lethargic. They don't move quick. And they don't come out in the open unless there's just so many of them. They were all over the freaking wall in the kitchen. They were all in the base molding in the bedrooms. They were everywhere. So, and then the bug guy, because we didn't want to do drywall on that house, so the bug guy told me the only hope to getting rid of the bed bugs when they're this bad is to remove every receptacle from the house So that way what he's spraying gets in the walls because they're clearly all in the walls too. And he bombed that thing like 2 or 3 times. Just went in there with whatever chemicals and did it. But it was gross. Like when I realized I don't mess with bed bugs. So if I'm in a bed bug house, I strip down to my underwear, throw my clothes in the back of the truck, and drive home naked. And then throw my clothes straight in the dryer when I get home to cook them. Because I don't want bed bugs in my house. That's...
No, that doesn't sound good.
No. But yeah, that was that one. And then the neighbor, mid-renovation, because it was a shared driveway situation, and she was a sweet little Hispanic lady, and she came out super grateful and thankful and just so excited to have normal neighbors. And I was like, so what was it like? What were they like? Tell me what their life was. How often did those kids come outside to play? And her response was, what kids?
What kids?
That was it. Just, there's no kids. I was like, there were 5 kids in that house. And she was like, I never saw kids.
Holy cow.
And there was a huge backyard. That house was not in a great part of town, but it had a monster backyard. And those kids just never left that room. They just stayed in there. And she said the only time that anybody came or went is when they were either coming to sell her drugs or for prostitution reasons, because that was her little side hustle.
Yeah, call center by day.
Yeah.
Hooker
Call
by
girl
night.
by night. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Zing.
Boom, nailed it.
So, just because you said the kids were like never like seen, ethnicity of the whole family was white?
She was white.
Okay.
And then the neighbor said that her boyfriend was Hispanic, but then she also said that they would have like gangbangs.
Yeah.
And they would just invite a bunch of dudes over, and there's 5 kids sleeping in a room full of trash, and they'd go in the bedroom and do things to each other.
See, that's why I was wondering if the, pretty much like if the kids were mainly documented or not, because you would think that like, oh, they're not going to school, they're not going outside.
Yeah.
Like, do these kids even exist to
It's a
the
great
world?
question.
I'm just curious more than anything. I guess we don't have the answer to that, but
No.
you know, because if they're not in school, I mean, government just kind of keeps a pulse on documented children. So that's why I was wondering. I'm like, I wonder if they were even documented,
I would,
if they even existed.
if I had to put money on it, I'd say maybe 2 of them were documented. I would say that there's a pretty good chance that half of them were undocumented children.
Yeah, that's scary.
I was trying to think, because I know there were so many that, like, the guys that were actually doing the work, they would experience and see things on those job sites. And that was the one, because it was over right outside of some projects, like back entrance, dead end street. So that dead end cul-de-sac is where they would go to, like, do drug deals, because it was right outside of the projects. And one guy that was working there said that he looked up one day and there was a guy just beating the shit out of another guy with a baseball bat just in the middle of the street, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I was like, what'd you do? I just yelled, hey, and then he ran off.
So one of the workers saw that.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was that one. Yeah, that was a good house. It was a good house in a good part of town. It was great. No, that one was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was just the kids, man. I can deal with a lot of stuff. Like, if I walked into a house and there was a dead body, that wouldn't bother me nearly as much. It'd bother me.
No, for sure.
But it's not the same.
What were the, an approximate is, like, obviously fine. It's like, what was the approximate age of the kids?
I couldn't see him that well.
No?
Is it a pitch black? The youngest was probably 2.
Yeah.
And then the oldest was somewhere in the early teens.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just a pitch black room full of trash bags. And all of a sudden you just kind of whipped out your phone. You're like, oh, were they kind of like laying around, sitting up, standing up? Just like.
No, there was no room to stand up.
So they were kind of just like wallowing in trash?
This room was like a 12 by 12.
Like a ball pen?
Yeah. Filled with white bags of kitchen trash. Dozens of them. I'm probably 2 to 4 feet, varying in depth across the entirety of the room. No path to walk, no furniture, just a blank room filled with bags of kitchen trash. And you could see where each of these kids had their section because they had wallowed the bags out to make a place to lay down.
It kind of reminds me of like, the ball pens or like the foam pits.
Yeah.
But like a dark one.
Yeah.
Like if I were to go to AI and say, generate a poverty foam pit
Yeah.
with children.
Yeah.
And I think AI would kind of generate something that like you've explained.
I don't know that AI could go that dark.
Can't go that dark.
That's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I'd have to probably give it more and more direction.
And I don't really want to do that. Oh, God. Yeah. I hope she's dead. I really hope she's dead.
There's a probability.
I hope so. Like, I hope it wasn't an easy death.
Probably also a probability.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell for that kind of person. I can deal with a lot of stuff, but that, like, you want to do a bunch of drugs and have gangbangs and do all that, you do you. But 5 kids sleeping in a room full of kitchen trash, and like they were feral, Kyle. Like, you could see in their eyes they did not know how to be people.
Right?
They were terrified to see another person and just animals staring back at me.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And then this was part of a package deal, and what I understand from the acquisitions guy is this lady used to live in this other house. And it was one that we didn't take down. We just assigned it because it needed a lot of work. It was not good. I did a walkthrough on that house. It wasn't good, but there was no room full of bags of trash. It was covered in cobwebs. It was covered in filth. It was nasty. It was not a good environment for kids. But on that level, it wasn't like that. So I don't know if she cleaned it up when
she left.
She expected people to like find out, like if that's her dark secret that she doesn't want anyone to know about. I don't know.
Right, I would imagine so. That kind of jogged my memory of like what package deal like you were talking about.
Yeah, that tells you what. Yeah, now you remember.
Yeah, I definitely remember.
Yeah,
the that lady wouldn't even. I know it wasn't the same one at all, but the seller at closing, she wouldn't say a word to anybody. Like she wouldn't even talk to anybody at all.
Was that the package where the guy got remarried and there was a fight between the stepmom and the daughter?
Is that the same one? Or is that a different one?
I can't remember if that was the same package.
I would imagine
it's
the same one.
I think it was the same one because it was a mess.
Yeah.
The stepmom...
That's why she wouldn't talk to anybody.
Yeah, because she, if memory serves, this guy owned a bunch of shithole houses all around town. He left those to the daughter, but then he had like the house up on the hill that's worth like $600,000-700,000. He left that to the stepmom, the second wife.
Yeah.
But the second wife wanted all of it. She did not want the daughter to have anything. So she wanted the proceeds from selling the Cracker Jack rentals too.
Yeah, so I met that guy probably about like 5-6 years before we actually bought that package. So I was a little familiar, like not familiar in any of his personal life. It's just like, I was like, oh, that guy was like a super nice guy. Sounds like he didn't vet his tenants very well though.
No. Or, ever do check-ins just to make sure.
Yeah.
The landlords go in once a month to change your air filters and make sure there's not a room full of children and kitchen trash. That's the lesson here. Takes 2 minutes to change an air filter. It's a good excuse to go in and make sure that they're not smoking meth and destroying children's lives. That's fucked up. God, I hated her.
Right?
Yeah. No, there have been a few bed bug houses. That was by far the worst. There was one. That's the thing about bed bugs. Sometimes you see them coming. Sometimes they just scare the shit out of you and come up out of nowhere. But we did one. It was like an apartment, and it looked clean enough. It was definitely lived in, and they weren't the cleanest people, but it wasn't disgusting. And got in there, they left everything. They left all furniture, every piece of furniture, which I thought was weird, until one of the guys is like, why does she have mattress protectors on the box springs? And I was like, yeah, that's weird. And he was like, that's what you do if you have bed bugs. And then he went over and unzipped it, and sure enough, there's just a trail of dried up blood and a little critter in the corner.
Ugh.
And then we found out that all of that furniture was just chock full of bed bugs. It's crazy the things that some of these guys will do. Like, without hesitation, just, yeah, let me pick up this armchair by myself and hold it against my body, knowing that it's filled with bed bugs, and I'll carry it out to the dumpster. That's fine. I'm like, we can team up on this. Like, you grab one side, I grab the other, and we both hold it really far away from us. No, I'm a man. Just hold it up against the shirt. I'm not afraid of bed bugs.
So it's a pretty short story. I was looking at like a quadplex, I don't know, several years ago, and I was trying to see like how stout the floor was. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like jumped up and down a little bit on this carpet. So fleas, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of them pretty much just like attached to me. So it's kind of like what you were talking about. And this is actually a very true story. On my way back to my office, I was getting ate up. Like, I mean, I couldn't shake them off of me. So I actually called one of the girls at my office, and I was like, hey, look, shoe size, 12, pant size, 36. Like, gave them the whole rundown, and I was like, go get me all new clothes. And I actually ran from my truck, and I went to the side of the office, kind of be respectful of everybody, in my underwear. They already had new clothes for me because I was covered in fleas. And I genuinely don't even remember what I did with my truck in order to get the fleas out of there. I might have even bombed it.
Well, that's what I was about to say is I kept flea bombs in the back of the truck specifically for that because you never know. And fleas, they don't gross me out, but they're freaking pain in the butt. And yeah, you just got to bomb it.
Yeah, I've had to treat my lawn and everything before because they just, like they don't play.
There was another Columbia house, sweet old lady, and her granddaughter lived there with about 400 cats. So after you got the stink of the urine out of your nose, went through everything and started looking around. And I could see them. And if you can see fleas just jumping, then there's probably a handful of fleas in that house. And yeah, same thing. Just like came out covered in them and had to tell this sweet old lady that she was covered in fleas. But I also kept really intense flea spray that is not allowed to touch human skin. And so if I knew that it was going to be a flea house, that was the house that taught me that. I would just soak my shoes and I would tuck my pants into my socks.
Yeah.
And just soak the bottom half of my pant legs in that flea spray.
Yeah.
Did a good job. So that was like $20 and warnings all over it. Do not let this touch your skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to get foot cancer.
You're going to fucking die.
You're going to get foot cancer.
You're going to get foot cancer hard. Yeah. Bugs are gross.